I have certain authority by virtue of this organization, and that's what I exercised. I don't have the right to take away his team. I don't want to rest on that neat legal point because, of course, there could be a process to take away someone's team in this league. It's very involved, and I ultimately made the decision that it didn't rise to that level.
Are you satisfied with the explanation that you got from Silver?
No, I'm not. But I'm not satisfied with LeBron James and CP3's response either. Allow me to explain. First things first. Adam Silver, I haven't spoken to him yet. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with him about this. He looked more uncomfortable than I've ever seen him. What I deduced from that, without having talked to anybody about it since that press conference yesterday, was that Adam Silver, I don't know what happened. I want to be very, very clear about that. Again, I haven't spoken to anybody. But he looked like somebody who was forced to take a position and justify something that he wished himself could have been more harsher. I think that we learned yesterday, we were reminded rather, that Adam Silver has NBA owners to answer to. Because the Adam Silver that we know and love, it looked as if that's something that he would have wanted to be significantly harsher than it was, meaning a $10 million fine and a 1-year suspension from all NBA activities as a board of governor and an owner for an NBA franchise with Mr. Robert Sarver. Adam Silver did not look comfortable at all. Having said that, I think it's also important to deduce from this, Molly, that this is crying for government intervention. And I'm not one who usually calls on that. I'm talking about something akin to what Dominique Foxworth came on First Take and alluded to yesterday. Just like you had an independent arm investigating the matter, maybe they should mirror the NFL to some degree in having an independent decision maker in this regard, as opposed to it being the NBA who makes that decision. Because clearly the owners are struggling to police themselves to some degree. If you are the Gruden situation and the Snyder situation in the NFL speaks to that. Now you've got this situation with Sarver, where clearly there should have been a stiffer punishment than what it was. Now they fined him as much as they possibly could, under collective bargaining agreement and all that stuff, or the NBA bylaws rather. So you couldn't give him more than the $10 million fine that you gave him. But you certainly could have suspended him longer than a year. You could have definitely done that. Maybe he would not have been banned for life. Maybe he could have. Maybe Adam Silver wanted to. Maybe he was denied the opportunity to do so. You have a lot of people that look at him and think that his behavior was just as, if not more egregious than Donald Sterling, even though Donald Sterling had a checkered past and he was caught on audio tape, and that certainly was not the case when it comes to Robert Sarver. But clearly the penalty should have been stiffer than a year. We all know that. Sarver, his actions were reprehensible. It smears the franchise. It smears the brand. And the reality of the situation is he should be ashamed of his damn self for acting the way that he acted. It's just that damn simple. And as a black man, I don't want to hear that you heard other people use it. I know we shouldn't be using that. We certainly shouldn't be using it around other folks. We certainly shouldn't be blazing, blowing them through the microphones and all of that stuff in the locker rooms and during games and stuff like that. Some of these lyrics, all of that other stuff. No, we shouldn't be doing that. But the bottom line is, it still doesn't negate, it still doesn't excuse Sarver for what he did. Let me get to CP3 and LeBron James. I appreciate their positions. I'm not saying they were wrong. What I'm saying is you're too damn late. Maybe if you were making that noise before the investigation was final, maybe if you were making noise during that investigation, we might have had a different ruling. Maybe the fines or the penalties would have been stiffer than a 1-year suspension. See, it's real easy to come back on the tail end of matters and say this is what should have happened. But what kind of noise were you making? And I'm not saying they weren't doing anything or saying anything behind the scenes. What I'm saying is the Donald Sterling decision came down in large part because public pressure rained down upon the NBA. You had cats talking about boycotting the playoffs. You had people like Magic Johnson talking about they weren't coming to another NBA game. you had black folks all over the place raising holy hell. Chris Paul's a member of the franchise. What do you mean investigation? And now that you've read the investigation, you play for the franchise. Now you might not have known some of the things that were going on prior to, but once it was exposed last year, there's no way that Chris Paul didn't hear some stuff that was going on. And again, I'm not accusing him of being a dereliction of duty and not putting forth his due diligence and trying to make things happen. I'm just addressing the statement both him and LeBron James made. What they said yesterday, they could have said months ago.
I know LeBron and Chris Paul play for the league, especially CP3. He's on the Suns. That's his owner. But the reason they didn't say anything is because there was an investigation. They had no proof or evidence of this stuff happening. It was just allegations. Now that the punishment has been handed, it's because they found evidence. So Chris Paul wasn't going to say, hey, get my owner out of here, before there was even evidence of any wrongdoing. And Stephen A should know better because he didn't say anything either. He wasn't calling for Sarver to be out of the league. He's just like LeBron and Chris Paul. He's the face of ESPN. He could have made a lot of noise, but he chose not to because there was an investigation and he didn't want allegations deciding someone's fate. I don't always agree with LeBron. I'm surprised Stephen A's even calling him out, to be honest. But on this situation, could you imagine if LeBron tweeted out, get Sarver out of the league and demanded that he be removed, and then the investigation comes out and it was all false? He would be destroyed for that. So of course he's going to wait until after the investigation to say anything, to have an opinion. It was just 2 weeks ago, everyone was pissed at BYU, people were canceling games there, their college was essentially done for, and then we find out that the allegations were false. So after just going through that, you expect LeBron and Chris Paul to try to oust an NBA owner? Come on now. They waited until the investigation was over, found out the comments were true, and made a response. No matter where you lie on this, whether you think the punishment is too strict, not strict enough, it's important to wait for the facts before you have a reaction. But let me know in the comments what you guys think of all this. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more NBA content just like this, and I will see you in the next upload.